Juji. Prepare to be pwned. Alright guys, I'm DeoGenZ, and today we're fighting the fighting type wielder, Juji. I love that name. Juji! The only reason I love that name was because there used to be a boarder at my farm named Judy, and not Juji, but it always reminds me of her and how she always used to somehow bring the reins whenever she came to ride her horses. So, anyway, starting off, we are in a good position here. She has fighting types, and I have to remind you, the interesting thing with Pokemon cards and how they treat types is that some Pokemon, even if they're ground, they have to fall into a certain category. You know, one that the card series promotes. You can't be a flying type in the card series, you can't be a rock type in the card series, or even a ground type. You're going to have to be a fighting type. But it's interesting because they do take recognition that this Pokemon's normally not a fighting type. So for example, Phanpy. Phanpy is a ground type. When Phanpy comes onto the field, I'm betting you that it has a weakness to water or grass type Pokemon. And that's how they get you. Yep, it seems to have a weakness to water from that little image that I saw. The preview capture window here is a little small, so it's hard for me to tell. Next time I'm going to enlarge it though, because this being a card battle game, I really need to see what the words are saying. Otherwise my commentary suffers. So, yes. Not going to have much of a problem if she switches out into a ground type that is fighting. But you have to be careful of that when you're constructing your own decks, because you may see a fighting type symbol and think, okay, I just have to watch out for psychic Pokemon, because there's no flying types in the card game, that's fine. But then you put Dolphin on your team and it's weak to water, and maybe you didn't expect it just looking at the fighting type symbol, and it could be a slap in the face. So make sure you check the weaknesses of your Pokemon before applying them to your team. Just having them be on the same type as your other correspondence is not going to do well if you don't take into account what resistance and weakness factors there are. And resistance also plays a big role. I don't think I've talked much about resistance, but resistance, you have the ability, obviously, to resist some of the power of the attack. And that can be very vital, sometimes especially when you're dealing with a base stage Pokemon that you're resistant to, because what they'll normally have is a move like Tackle that only does 10 or 20 damage. And your resistance factor is going to cancel that move out completely. So this allows you to have a free slot out on the active field while you prepare all your pokes on the bench, and even power up your active Pokemon if you're planning to evolve it. So if I had Wartortle and Blastoise, then I'd be pumping up my Squirtle here, but I don't. I'm actually not sure if they will reward you with those types of cards. I know that right now, the big evolved Pokemon that you're trying to obtain in this team is Feraligatr. But I don't know if they would reward your deck and enhance it with two fully evolved Pokemon such as Blastoise and Feraligatr. That might just be a little too much, only because, again, card battling deals a lot with luck. And you're going to end up getting a lot of part of your evolution, but not a complete set. It's kind of dangerous because, you think about it, if we insert two of the Stage 1 Pokemon for my Totodile, which would be a Croconaw, and then we insert two Wartortles in there, we have four useless Pokemon that we can't do anything with unless there's a pre-evolved form out on the field or bench. That's four slots that are very, very haphazard to have, because they're not very manageable. So, keep that in mind, guys. I'm going to think about switching my deck here. Switching it up to the basic fire deck. And we will try that out in the next episode.